Yeah. What? Yeah. Look, it all started right around the middle of August. You was never in my eyes. If I'm keeping it honest, we had to meet it for some little.
It's a smooth Saturday.
The moment that you caught my eye, what a surprise.
Hello, everybody.
I still remember the time until the next day in the hallway, walking past you, thinking in my mind like, damn, I gotta have you. Cause look, I can't let you go. I can't let you go. I can't let you go. Now it's soccer practice, showing off my class moves. Had me skipping
Happy
class.
Saturday. I hope everybody's week went well. Hallelujah, it's the weekend. We made it. Let's do it.
I said that you'll be mine, and now you work this out my arms. And by October 17th, you know the words to every song. So I can't let you go.
Thanksgiving's coming up so soon. I could have swore it was like two weeks away. Cause of the time is so off.
Did I mention that you have the 1%? 48 hours talking text. Hey, yo, Saza, have you ever met a girl?
This is Day to Dawn on the track. For anybody who's listening and curious.
I was a certified lover boy and a heartbreak kid. Bro, I'm done looking for love in the places it won't grow. I mean, now I do believe in soul ties, but chasing after love had me feeling so tired.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for catching the time change.
So found the silver lining as I walk the gold mine. The thing about love is the harder that you chase. The more you block your blessings as it smiles in your face. But don't let it slip away. I tell my shorty every day, I can't let you go. I can't let you go. I can't let you go. I can't let you go.
Yeah, man. They spaz on this one. Hip hop artist from Roxbury. Another Beat the Odds artist. I think I might have played him a couple sessions ago. But he just dropped the full project yesterday, actually. So huge shout out to Day. He's doing great work, super great work. Shout out BTO. Listen, I might be a little biased, but I'm just saying. As somebody who works at BTO, we got a pretty fire lineup. I'm not gonna lie. That was Let You Go by Day to Dawn, featuring Joe Saza, another BTO artist. This is Misunderstood by Day to Dawn and Latrell James. Please, y'all, if you are sleeping on this generation, I need you to wake up. I need you to wake up. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Appreciate y'all hopping in. I know it's a little earlier. It's a little earlier than usual, but I appreciate y'all. Welcome back to Beantown Talks. If this is your first time, what's the word? Okay, my name is Stacks. For those of you who don't know me, I do a few different things out here, but most importantly, I'm just a little Gen Z with a 6-foot vision for this city. You feel me? Man, I feel like this season's been going by so fast. Like, Thanksgiving's already next week, and some of y'all are already in a Christmas mood, which I don't know. Christmas don't start until December for me, okay? Like, we gotta give Thanksgiving some love. There's still some theme and branding around that, okay? Let's pause the clock for a second. Welcome everybody coming in. And actually, if anyone is looking for a turkey, if you need a turkey for this Thanksgiving, there's a turkey giveaway happening tomorrow. I think it's like one per household that's required, so everybody gets some. But yeah, shout out Love Without Violence and Exposed TV. You gotta fill out a form on their Instagram. I'm gonna plug it in here, okay? Because everybody gotta eat. All right, go on, get yourself a little turkey. That's gonna be at Love WO Violence. Put it right here in the chat for anybody who needs that. Turkey giveaway happening tomorrow. Welcome everyone coming in. Y'all, I'm recovering. I had a late night last night. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Red Eye. I've been keeping up with Red Eye for a bit. It's a DJ music platform, events platform. They had a beautiful event celebrating their 1 year anniversary, 1 year of putting on some really dope parties in Boston. Shout out to the whole team. Beautiful execution. Actually, a few shout outs. Elos, big shout out to Elos. First local artist halftime performance for this season with the Celtics. Really beautiful work. He's been on the grind for a really long time. Shout out to a beautiful Resistance. They just celebrated their 5-year anniversary yesterday at the Museum of Science. Shout out to Janae Osterhelt and the whole team. And for folks who aren't familiar, Beautiful Resistance is a Boston Globe series written by Janae Osterhelt. She's a culture columnist with the Globe that centers Black joy and other stories from BIPOC folks, spotlighting events, arts, and culture in the city of Boston. Was good, everybody. And also, if y'all didn't know, Berkeley, shout out to the Africana Studies Department at Berkeley. The Berkeley Hip Hop Hall of Fame recently inducted the Wonder Twins and Rakim for this year. Previous inductees include Cindy Diggs, the Floor Lords, Kid and Play, Ed O.G., Prince Charles Alexander, and Roxanne Shante. So huge shout out to Africana Studies. Someone on their team is doing research, not only hip hop research, but Boston hip hop research. So huge congrats to everyone, all the inductees. Really beautiful, historic work. Y'all, this is the 6th Beantown Talks, okay? Where we talk about Boston's past, present, and future all at once, in real time, unfiltered, open forum style. You already know the vibes. Again, my name is Stack. Just a visionary in the city trying to put the community together, you feel me? So if you've been here before, these are some house rules, some little housekeeping. So like I said, it's open forum style, which I genuinely mean that. Anybody, all perspectives are welcome at any point. We usually have a special guest for each session, but if you feel inspired at any point to join the conversation and add your perspective in real time, we can have as many as up to 4 people at once on the live, so you are more than welcome to hop on. If you don't feel comfortable, please feel free to share your comments in the comment section. I'll be reading through them throughout. If you have a question at any point, feel free to pop that in the icon below with the little question mark. I'll be checking those throughout as well. And then if you actually do want to join the live, you can either request to join with the little camera icon, or if it gets a little too crazy, you can put the little hand emoji. I'm gonna put it in here. I always put it in here so y'all can see. You could do that, just in case I miss it, and I'll make sure we get you on. Annika Morrissey, first time here, but I'm fucking with you. Are you for real a talent agent? That's lit. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I studied music business management at Berkeley College of Music. I actually didn't want to do talent management, at all. I vividly remember saying that in college because I knew how heavy of a lift it was. And then I caught the bug. I interned for this boutique management company in LA. And I came back to Boston, and I was like, dang, do we even have any of those? And then I just kept seeing the problem of, there. Hello. Donovan, are you taking on clients for management? Also, let me know, y'all, how the connection is doing. Usually my connection is solid, but okay. Cool. I am not. Actually, I'm on a little pause right now for several different reasons, but I know people and there are communities of managers. I'm part of this group called Boston Managers Group, spearheaded by Ralph Jacadine. He's a professor over at Berkeley College of Music, longtime artist manager himself. And that's literally what we're trying to cultivate. We're just bringing in all of the different managers, artists. There's also Music Managers Forum US. It's the leading trade association for managers and self-managed artists. So I'm pulling in all the resources and trying to we have a chapter out here in Boston as well. So yeah, but I highly recommend joining the Discord, which I'll talk about in a second. There are artists in there, creatives of all types, managers are in there. So if you are an artist looking for management or just like looking to build a team, that's a really great place to start. And also pop out to the events, y'all. I keep saying that every week, but I promise you, like, you never know. And actually there are a lot of like networking type events, mixers, women in music, so many different like platforms out here where it might not say like, this event is for people looking for managers. It won't say that explicitly, but it will say, but it will be an opportunity where those kinds of people will be in the room, and then from there on, it's just building conversation. Mass Music and Arts Summit was a super dope music and arts conference that happened this year. Basically like a music industry conference. A whole bunch of top executives were in the room. So many different types of people were in there. Aspiring A&Rs, managers, people who want to go into marketing, artists themselves. Like, again, those spaces you want to be in, so then you can make those kinds of organic connections. But just listen, today's guest is all in the management space, so we gonna talk about that a little more for sure. Shows/events are the move, absolutely. Yes, pop to events is key. Oh, you the real deal for this community. I appreciate you, Rob. I appreciate you. Trying, man. Somebody's got to do it. That's my answer every time. Somebody's got to do it. Welcome everybody who's been joining in. Again, this is the 6th episode of Beantown Talks, which is insane. Keeping on with the housekeeping. So, open forum style, right? Let's just keep it respectful, keep the language PG. I know when we talk about Boston, there's certain emotions that come up. It can be very traumatizing even, which I completely respect. And, this is a space where we hear all sides, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. I just ask that we keep the conversation productive, right? No hate speech or vulgar language or anything like that. And yeah, if you want to rewatch this episode or if you want to catch up on the previous ones, we've had some really dope special guests. Like, this city, like, we don't run out of legends. I'm gonna just say that. Like, this platform will never run out of special guests because we have gems sprinkled literally all over the city in the most beautiful way. So if you want to catch up on all the other episodes, they're all archived on YouTube. You can go to Beantown Stacks or just go to my Instagram bio to find a link to that. But yeah, y'all, we also share some upcoming events and resources here. I usually give y'all 3 because there's too many to share them all. Next Friday, if you go to any show in the next couple weeks, I need you to pull up to this one, please. Next Friday, homecoming show headlined by Clark D with support from Malik Elijah, Dave, Ajari, and Key. If these names don't sound familiar, I especially need you to pull up. It's going to be, again, next Friday, November 22nd at Sonia's, starting at 7 p.m. You're going to want to get tickets at Sir Clark D on Instagram. I'll put that in the chat. Mattapan artist, moved to Atlanta for a bit, has been on Grammy nominated projects as a producer, engineer, and he's back in Boston. I think he just moved to New York, but he's doing a little homecoming celebration in Boston, in his hometown. Really great music, y'all. There's really great music coming out of the city right now, and if you're someone who's interested in just seeing, keeping a pulse on what's popping, I highly recommend you pull up to this show and get a taste for yourself. An application. I'm talking to all my BIPOC artists in here. Art Spark, if you are not familiar, they're a nonprofit booking agency. So I know a couple people were asking about talent, agent, and team related things. Welcome everyone joining in. Sharing some resources real quick. Applications just opened for their roster. They're looking for BIPOC artists of any medium. So you could be music, you could be visual art, and any medium. So if you're looking for paid performance opportunities, artist development support that's personalized, and just a network of other BIPOC artists who are really trying to make waves, this is for you. Highly recommend applying. Deadline is December 12th for that. You're going to want to go to @ArtSparkBoston on Instagram. Shout out to ArtSpark. So many to be nonprofit and a booking agency. That's God's work right there. I know. We 2 hours early. I know. I hope some of y'all caught the little time change. I know it's out of the ordinary. Aviator, not good morning at 12:16. We do the session 2 hours early and we're in morning all of a sudden. I'm dead. Welcome everyone. Final application I'm gonna share. The Loop Lab, for any of y'all who are interested in media arts, film, digital, audio, storytelling, this is for you. If you are not familiar, the Loop Lab is another nonprofit. Okay, sorry, quick tangent, but let me tell you, Boston is a city of nonprofits. I said it. Now it's not easy. It's not easy to be a nonprofit. The nonprofit sector is, you gotta be built different to sustain that. But like, we have so many resources, y'all. Oh my gosh. The Loop Lab supports youth in the media arts to develop careers in AV. So a lot of workforce type of development. So again, if you have to be between 18 to 26, my fault. If you are 18, between the ages of 18 and 26, and you are interested in the media arts, really great opportunity here for their media arts apprenticeship program, where you'll gain hands-on media production with cameras, audio, editing. If you're looking for an inclusive space for BIPOC and women creatives, and it's a paid internship experience where you also get industry connections. So super duper fire. The deadline for that is also December 12th. So I just gave y'all two applications now. You're gonna go to @WeAreTheLoopLab on Instagram. All right, all of those are in the chat. And if you want to hear about more events, more opportunities, more resources, please, I'm gonna keep sounding like a broken record. I need you in the Discord. I need you in there, because it's so many, y'all. Like, just last weekend, I think there was like 3 or 4 events the same day, and I went to all of them. Like, I was like late to every single one, but I was like, I'm gonna just pop through and see what's going on. Oh my gosh, it's so active, and there's so many like new things, new spaces, new venues that I'm learning about. Like, please, I post everything that comes up on my radar in this Discord, and not to mention, it's just a really dope community full of other people who also want to see Boston in a brighter way, and want to push the vision for the city forward. So please, the link for that is also in my Instagram bio. If you want to DM me too, like, listen, I'm here, and yeah, bro. Thank you guys for hopping on and catching the time change. Today, let me give some context first. So, a few guests that I've brought on have been like some of the first people that I've connected with when I was first getting into the whole Boston scene. I grew up here, born and raised and everything, but somehow I did not understand. I wasn't exposed to the wider arts and culture scene, like citywide. I went to Berkeley, and even through those years, like it was something I was never talked about. And so this guest was one of the first people that I connected with when I started to make that transition and started to do more research around the resources in the city and the power players and the movers and shakers. And I think when it comes to Berkeley in particular, I know last session we had some Berkeley people in the room. Shout out to Berkeley. Love the community. No shade at all, okay? I love the institution, okay? Really beautiful work. But one of my qualms is that they never really bring in people from Boston. They'll fly in everybody and they mama from New York, from LA, all these other different hubs. They have these like industry trips for all these, which makes sense. Like I fully support that. I did those things myself. But one of my qualms was like, yo, like y'all gotta bring in at least like one or two people from Boston, just so students know, like, we also have executives and business professionals and entrepreneurs right in the city too. Like, it's not like a deserted land out here. And then I heard that this guest was actually invited to speak on campus before. Shout out to Derek Oxford with the Career Center. And so it was really exciting to hear that, like, and it's getting better. I'll shout out LaToya Lee too, because they've been doing a lot of on-campus events lately. I think the all access events that actually include like Boston creatives, Boston platforms. So, listen, change takes time, but it starts with a person who's like passionate about seeing that. Like, I can definitely speak for LaToya. She's the director of industry relations at Berkeley. She's very passionate about, bridging that gap between Berkeley and Boston. The Aviator, that representation around here is important for others to see. Absolutely. Because I kid you not, like, the reason why I initially wanted to go to LA, like, I literally had that in my mind planned out, had job offers coming my way and everything. And it's only because I didn't see Boston as an option. There was nobody in any of these classes that spoke on what, building a career in Boston could look like. I didn't even know what resources there were. I found out when I did my own research, and this is why I push the research thing so much and just like pulling up to events. This is why this platform even exists. Like, it's to make it easier for folks so that we don't, because it's like delusion. Like, it's like living in a completely alternate reality where, if you don't, a lot of times if you don't see it, you just don't know that it's there. You don't know that it exists. And a lot of the times, like, these, especially the college transplants, what's good, Faith? Oh my gosh, sending so much energy your way. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, a lot of the times, like, these students will come in, and because they don't see it, or because no, like, professor or college, like, exposes it to them, they're not gonna have that innate desire to go and, like, oh, let me find out. They will just succumb to the stereotypes. Again, I want to shout out Africana Studies / the BSI, the Black Scholar Initiative program, specifically at Berkeley, because I know they've had, like, they'll do trips to, like, Nubian Square, for example, like, with the students. That's how you expose. Like, you can't, unfortunately, like, you can't just always expect students to go off of campus and, like, go explore Boston on their own. Also, it helps to have a guide. It helps to have somebody who knows the lay of the land and can share the stories and provide context on this and that. Like, we need more of that. I can't speak on any other college. I know Northeastern actually has a really fire, like, community initiative program. I think there's, like, a whole department for that, actually. So shout out to them. Shout out to Shamel, who's on that team. And literally, like, puts a spotlight, has collaborations with local organizations. So again, I see where we could go. We just got to get there. But all that to say, yeah, I was excited to hear that this guest was here in Boston, was still here, and not to mention that, it was another Black woman, and to see that as a Black woman who's trying to also get into the business and be in Boston, it was a really beautiful thing for me to experience. Genuinely one of the sharpest minds I've come across, not just in business and entrepreneurship, but just life, and spirituality. I feel like she's the secret weapon in the room, okay? Like, super duper humble, but y'all will find out in a second. just how much of a powerhouse she really is. So I'm gonna welcome up Miss Sharlea Brookes-Keyes. Let me see if I can. All right. Listen, one thing about me, if you are one, first of all, if you are my friend, I'm definitely gonna take the opportunity to spotlight you. But then if you're just full of greatness, like there's just no way. Hi, Sharlea.
Hi. Good
Oh my
morning. Or,
gosh.
oh, it's not morning. And your audience has called me out for that already. They're like, we're 2 hours early. And it's like, I'm sorry, y'all. Blame it on me. What did Akon say? You can put the blame on me. Put it on me. Put it
I'm
on me.
dead. No, it's all good. We are here. Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh. Welcome everyone coming in. This is Beantown Talks. First of all, how is your state of mind right now?
I'm in a New York state of mind. No pun intended.
Oh shoot. Oh shoot.
No, I'm all right. I just came from a crazy like birthday celebration type of bender. And I mean, I wake up with gratitude every morning despite whatever's happening. So I can't complain. I
I
can't
love
complain.
that. We're definitely gonna get into the New York piece, but like
But
a
we don't have to
little
talk.
a little
Okay.
later, a little later.
Okay. We'll
So
talk about it.
I need you to take. Well, first of all, for folks who might not be familiar, can you introduce yourself? Tell us about who you are, what you do, all the good things.
So hey guys, I'm Sharlea Brookes-Keyes. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, more specifically Dorchester, Essex, as I already told you. I do a few things. I don't even know how to answer this question anymore. I genuinely don't. But I have stepped into the worlds of music, finance, technology, and life, I guess.
Yes, we love it. We
Yeah,
love it. And we gonna get into it.
I
So
guess.
let's rewind. I always like to turn back the clock to the days, the early childhood days, Dorchester. What did Boston feel like to little Charlia during that time?
Boston felt like home,
Mm,
and will always feel like home. And I mean that because there's just so much like when I was little, Boston had so many things to do. Like this current um leadership that we have kind of reminds me of like the old Menino days where there was a trillion things for people to do. Activities. My mom had me involved in everything. I was playing piano, I was modeling, I was acting, I was playing drums, I was playing basketball, tennis. Like the list goes on, but it's
mm,
because the city had just so many things to do. Um, and yeah, I was the only child too, so I don't know. Boston just felt like that as well. Just
that's
somewhere to
fun.
explore.
Mm. When it came to the art side of things, like you were spread all over the place. You dipped a toe in everything. What was that moment that like when it became clear to you that like the arts in particular, creativity was like your thing?
Well, let's start at 4 years old, right? Like that's preschool era. And while everybody was like napping, I had to get up. And I went to preschool in a church. So those who aren't familiar with churches, it's like you have the basement, like the first floor, and then there's what's called the sanctuary where people actually like do the church thing. So while everybody was in the nursery like sleeping, I had to get up and go upstairs and play the piano. And thinking back on that time, I was really committed because as a 4 year old getting up during nap time to actually want to go play a, an instrument that at this time like I could care less about, but then ended up falling in love with. I think that was where I was like, okay, this music thing is kind of cool. And then my mom at the same time also put me in the church choir.
Mm-hmm.
The choir had more uh defiance around just because like I'm not a singer. I do like to hold a note. But now that I'm older and the way I listen to music, I really do appreciate my tenure in being in a choir. So I would
Yeah.
say arts wise, that was cool. Also, speaking of the long list of activities, my mom definitely had me in like these like arts and craft classes too, like in random buildings and stuff. I don't know. That just
Wow.
came to my mind too,
Dang,
like drawing stuff.
she was tapped into to all these different organizations and platforms. How many of them are still around?
Tenacity, the tennis one is definitely still around. My piano teacher, I I know he's still living. Shout out to Mr. Winfrey. I don't know if he's still teaching piano at this age. The church choir, actually, my children's choir isn't like a thing anymore.
Mm.
So if anybody from the church is watching this, I hope we can figure that out for the kids. Um, I don't know if the lacrosse program, I actually did lacrosse too for a second.
Oh wow.
Um, I'm just about to just keep naming things. Oh, the modeling agency Barb is on. I don't think that's around either. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that a lot of things still exist. I think that they exist in different ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That's so interesting. Do you feel like back then, because I'm sure you've heard all the misconceptions of the city just not being active and not having anything to offer. Did you hear any of that back during that time too?
No. I mean, I was so young, but considering that I was involved in so many things, I would call it blasphemy. But I do know, or I do think that there was a stretch when I got older where it felt like there was like activities and opportunities for kids like dwindling down, probably
Mm,
like pre-COVID up until the new leadership stepped in. Yeah,
got you. Okay,
for sure.
okay. So, and what year was that?
Um,
Like 2019?
maybe like 2015 to 16, because I feel like 15 to 16 was lit if you were a young adult, like if you were like 19, 20. But I wasn't seeing much with the kids. But then again, I wasn't a kid anymore, but I knew kids and I feel like they were starting to also lose interest, and technology also kept ramping up. So I don't know.
Got you, got you.
Yeah.
I I didn't realize too that you were doing a lot of internships during that time, like within the city. Like you had a little politics moment with the office. Can you please share? I didn't know this.
I feel like I'm being held hostage to answer this question. City Hall, how do I want to answer this question? I mean, with any experience in this life, you learn the good and the bad, but I knew for certain that was not my calling. The
What
building
pulled you
is
to get into
how
it?
to
Did
do
you were you
it.
just curious or
I think I like to sometimes take the easy way out. To graduate my high school, you had to do an internship before we graduated. And thinking back on that, like, how did they even allow us to like do that at 18 with like little to no resources? But whatever. Connections and community. So Shagun, who is now one of the like the right hands of Mayor Wu, shout out to Shagun, my big brother. He was working under Charles Yancey at the time, and Charles Yancey was the longest standing city councilor at the time. And I think that each counselor had like a season where they had interns. And I think for me, it was just the easy way in. But yeah, it was
got
quite an
you?
internship.
Was it on like what side? I know because you were on the office of like a specific city councilor. So was it more like it wasn't specific to like Boston arts and culture? It was kind of like what
No.
aspect of the city were you working on?
Oh, Lord. Okay. So because I was working under the longest sitting counselor at the time, my job was to basically transcribe transcripts that were older than me from like the 19, maybe like 60s, 70s, 80s. I could be really forcing it, but it was really old. And putting them in a technological space. So like uploading them to Google Drive and like uploading them to whatever cloud services were at the time. And it was also answering calls of just angry people and sad people, some people in who just needed someone to like talk to,
Mm,
type of vibes. But yeah, I mean, I love helping people, but I knew that medium of it wasn't gonna be for me.
got you. And so
Hmm.
the Celtics internship that you did after, do you feel like that was a little more in line?
Like, heck yeah, I forgot you said I peeped the housekeeping rules. I was like, let me be mindful about my language. And if my mom's
Oh no,
watching us too,
you can swear. Just like no
I'm not a sailor. I'm not gonna like, I'm not about to force it, but um what Celtics. Oh yeah, that was a dream job. Um that was a dream job. So I grew up seeing my mom work for the Celtics. So actually, rewind. When you asked me about all the things that I was involved in, the reason why my mom was so hip to everything is when you're the child of an educator, they're like they're like the promoters, right? They know
Mm,
everything what's going on, not at just like a local sense, but just I mean, not just like a what's going on in their school. They know what's happening in the city of wherever you live or town that you live in. So my mom was just hip to so many programs, just being an educator in Boston Public Schools. So uh my Celtics origin story is wild, but I'm gonna try to like condense it. Basically, I've been following the team as a fan, but also supporter of their community engagement sector since I was like 5 years old. And I became a huge fan of the Celtics because I saw my mom get honored on the parquet floor. And then from
mm,
there, I was like, oh, this team loves my mom so much. I'm going to love them. And then that's how I became a fan. And then throughout her work with the Celtics, she had a program called the Stay in School program, which is really dope, to entice Boston Public School kids to like stay in school, by the players visiting them. I actually went on a trip to DC with a couple players. I don't remember who it was right now, but like just allowing the Celtics to step into a space where they can encourage the kids to just like do well, stay in school, and they
mm.
would do it. They would actually do it. They would get good grades. They would show up to school. And I was in the back of my head all the time, like, I want to work for the Celtics. I want to work for the Celtics.
Wow.
Like, it's like, yeah, they're a good basketball team, but the communities, people don't talk about the community side of our team. Like they do a
Yeah.
lot. So fast forward to the internship, shout out to nepotism a little bit, but I wasn't technically even supposed to work there because for Northeastern Co-op, and I was a business major, I was supposed to be sitting at a desk at like TJ Maxx or like I don't know, some sort of tech company, some sort of like very corporate thing. Not that Celtics aren't corporate because they are, but like you know what I mean. Um, I got the job, and that job taught me that even though this is the best dream job that I could have ever got, I knew that it wasn't my calling to be at a desk. Like
Mm,
I had every perk that you could think of, from meeting the players, setting up community events, touching the people, going to the games for free, letting people in the game for free, giving them food, the catered food that we got. Like it
wow.
was a dream job. But I knew in the back of my head, I was like, this is not forever. I didn't say it out loud, but I knew in the back of my head, like this wasn't forever.
Mm, I feel that. I'm glad that you touched on the community engagement piece. You like brought back memories from when I was younger that I didn't even know I had. Like they, meeting them and signatures, and I think we ended up going to some court at some point as well. Like they, and even now, like they just um had their local artist. I think they just started a new season, and they had another local artist perform for their halftime shows. Like they've been really um like doing that work deeply in the community for a while. Shout out to the Celtics, man.
Yeah, shout out to them all the time. I hopefully one day I get to tell the full story of my relationship with that team because it's even deeper than what I just talked about. But yeah, go Celtics forever. But yeah, shout out to the community engagement side. So Dave and JB's another one who now works under Mayor Wu, um, and Sam and the whole team.
Wait, he does?
Yeah,
What's his
J,
position?
entertainment actually, funny enough.
In what department?
The entertainment side of the city of Boston. Like, I don't know
Oh
what it's
wow.
officially called, but yeah, no. He's the
The
same way Shagun is like the economic guy, JB's the entertainment guy.
Oh wow. I did not know that. I know he had the the vision for like Black Wall Street in Boston.
Oh, sorry, JB is not Jalen Brown. That is so
Oh,
crazy. And I am so sorry. And I totally forgot that we now have like Jalen Brown goes by JB. I definitely have
no,
never
you're
called
good.
Jalen
You're
Brown
good.
JB in my life. Um, John Borders,
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
son of
yes.
Reverend Borders, is JB in this context. My
Yes, yes, yes.
bad.
Okay. Yeah, the Office of
That
Tourism,
is so
Sports and
crazy.
Entertainment.
The way people probably just
But
thought I
like
just
that would be cool. I feel like it sounded so fitting though because like Jalen Brown has also been really pushing that engagement.
I know that Jalen is from Atlanta and I think he's just African American, but he definitely gives me Jamaican vibes. He got 20 million jobs as well. So honestly, Jalen, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry, my God. But yeah, no, I was talking about John Borders. Talking about John Borders.
Yes, oh, we love John. We love John. That whole department um has been really killing it, but we gotta see more. I'm always asking more from our politicians, but it's tough. It's so tough with the market right now and the economy, and it's that's a whole other story. But okay, so you knew that this wasn't your calling. At that point, did you it seems like with every experience you got closer to figuring out what that was. Like, what was that moment when you figured it out? Or are you still figuring it out?
So there's purpose and then there's calling. So callings are the things that you're ordained to do in order to fulfill your purpose. Your purpose is more so like, I'm here on this earth to do X, Y, and Z. I am here because, versus calling is like, I am in this job right now to do this for this amount of time, and then I'm going to transition into this moment of time. Like, that's what a calling is versus purpose. So, um,
Mm,
I think I understand what my purpose is now, but my callings, I'm not quite sure until I get there. But everything is like, looking back at life, everything is primed itself to be here. Because the first question you asked me about little Sharlea, everything that I just named, I'm currently doing in some way, shape, or form.
mm, I love that.
Yeah.
The moment you so at the time with those, and we'll go into management, the agency, and everything in a second. At that time, did you have the purpose figured out? What was the moment when the purpose kicked in?
Maybe like 20, like during COVID,
Mm,
when I actually got to like sit in silence and like the most optimal isolation that you could ever have. I think that's when I
mm,
realized what it was. So maybe like 2021 or two.
got
Yeah.
you. And by that point, you had already started management?
I was already, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years into it. Yeah, no, like around five-ish.
Got you. Can you tell us like what your pathway was into like music business, entertainment, working with creatives?
Yeah, it's a complex story with many layers, but in short, one of my friends from high school who's always been really talented, we reconnected my sophomore year of college. She had sent me a couple songs, um, and then I was like, the first one was cool, whatever, and then the second one I was like, wait, what? Like, that's my friend, the friend that I've known for so long. Like, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, especially from where we're from and like you know, you know how it is. Like we're still kind of incubating and creating new talent every day, but at the time I was like, this doesn't even make any sense. I was just so flabbergasted, and I'm a very picky person. Anybody who knows me for real, I'm picky about everything, especially music. So I had sent to some friends of mine who also were aspiring musicians, and they were also really blown away. So I sat her down. I'll never forget at Shake Shack. It's
Are we
funny because
allowed to know who this person
oh,
is?
we're gonna the unveiling is coming. I
Okay.
gotta do the same way you did a 20-minute red carpet. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Oh my
Not because you
gosh.
were talking a lot. I just like I don't like doing all that stuff for me
I
personally.
know you don't.
And for those watching Stacks, I don't do these type of things, but because it's her, I had to do it because the
I'm
future
honored.
of the city is in great hands here.
I'm
So,
honored. Also,
um,
welcome to everyone who's been joining in. Thank you for being here. If any questions pop up that you have for Sharlea or just general questions that you want to pose, feel free to pop them in the question section, or you can just pop them in the comments. If you want to join at any point, please speak your mind. I'll be reading the comments throughout. But yes, continue.
No, for sure. And yeah, definitely ask questions. I sat her down at Shake Shack on Newberry Street because I just thought that was the best place to meet somebody and talk about future. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to help you. Like, I don't know
Mm.
uh what you've been working on fully, but like I see where you're going visually, aesthetically. She looked like a star, like a superstar. Because again, I've known her since the third grade. I've been watching her transition into this like person that she was becoming. And just to see her at that point in time, I was like, wow, you look like like I said, a star. So I sat her down in Shake Shack and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to help you. Then that song that she had sent me, I was like, let's put it on SoundCloud. We did. And that was the first moment of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like proof of concept, but I want to use a different word. Um Verification, right? Verification that we were doing something right. We put it on SoundCloud, and mind you, my friend at the time, not at the time because we're still friends, we're like best of friends, but at the time she was and still is a recluse. She didn't have a big social media following. She barely talks to a lot of people. She talks to her inner circle, which is like this big. And that song got 10K plays in like a week. And this was 2015. And this
Mm.
is Boston. This is Roxbury. This is not a thing that I'm like used to. And I'm like, oh, we have something here. Like, I'm not the only one like blown away by this. Other people like it too. So then that's when the street started talking. That's when other local artists who were also emerging and making a name for themselves started to reach out to us and be like, who is this girl? What is she doing? And her name is Vintage Lee. And Vintage was making waves around the city like it was like a bomb that had dropped. It was insane. And then we were like, all right, let's just keep going, let's keep creating. And then I'll never forget the night she made the song, but she then creates a song that many may know that you put in the advertisement for this called Anything's Possible. And through community, through networking, I figured out how to premiere it through Pigeons and Planes. Shout out to Alex Cyber, who's now a really close friend of mine. And then that's when the floodgates opened. That's when the
Mm.
labels started calling. That's when artists that we've always like looked up to started kind of like peeking in and seeing what was going on. That's when she started getting booked, or people wanted to book her all over the country. And I was like, oh, okay, like this, we're like, this is happening.
Mm.
And then now remember, we didn't talk about my Northeastern time, but I'm a full-blown college student right now, helping a friend out. Like, this is not like any sort of official thing. This is me helping a friend out. So now I'm sitting in class. The teacher's talking about rhombuses and XY equals PR times the second thing. And we're talking about debit and credit and like accounting. And I'm over here talking to Atlantic. I'm over here talking to certain labels, like just trying to just figure this thing out.
Mm.
Um, and that's when, like I said, the inbound started coming in. So that's where we had to start figuring out, okay, like, is this just a friendship now, or is this like we're gonna go into actual business together? And then that's when I actually like started to be in the music industry, I guess.
Got you, got you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you. Some things just come up by surprise. Sometimes the calling will just pull you straight into it.
100%.
So during this time, during all the buzz, was Vintage like the would you say spearheading that, or was there other motion happening in the city from other artists as well?
Yeah, there's definitely other motion. Sis was starting to make his way. Michael Christmas was making his way. Somebody who I feel like doesn't get enough credit to is OG Swagger Dick. Before I knew about
Mm.
anybody, in terms of like a Boston music scene that was starting to kind of formulate, there was this guy who was just always doing crazy funny things on the internet, and that was OG. So in terms of just like a general entertainment landscape, I definitely have to give OG his flowers too. And then I also had some friends who were aspiring musicians as well. Um, but I wouldn't say like outside of those. Oh, and then there was definitely other artists like at the time like aspiring as well too. But then on the non-Boston side, this is also where female rap was like not a thing yet. So we're also kind of breaking through this new threshold because for a long time it was like Nicki Minaj for like
Mm.
a decade. And then all of a sudden people like Vin pop up, Cupcake pop up, Rico Nasty pop up. So like on a national sense, those are like some of the names that started come up in the female rap thing, and then Cardi B came in, and then the whole industry just like flipped upside down.
Mm-hmm. Dang, not upside down.
Well, yeah, no, she changed it. I mean, we could talk about Cardi in another conversation, but she's a unicorn for so many different reasons.
For sure. So during for vintage, this vision that you both had, did did it include Boston? Did it get to a point where, as you guys were pushing nationally and scaling globally, did it ever at any point start to feel like you were struggling to like be tethered to Boston? Like what was the vision from your perspective?
Um, I feel like I didn't those challenges until later into her career. I think we embraced Boston for what it was, and we appreciate all the love and all the support at the time. And we just, yeah, it was really natural. It wasn't like a we're gonna be Boston artists. No, it was like this girl happens to be from Roxbury. She happens to be from Boston. She loves her city, specifically Roxbury. She loves it very much because it's like a big part of her upbringing. So we're just gonna run with her
Mm,
pride for what it is, and that's just what it was. And with that, we got campaigns, like we had a Nike campaign, where her and Rest in Peace Have a Replay were posted all over the city in these cool Nike Celtics jerseys. And then um we ended up on 2K, which we can get to later, but I also asked the favor from the Celtics too, like, do you want to get behind this artist? Because at the time they weren't, now you see like the Celtics supporting artists, but at the time they weren't really supporting local artists.
mm.
And I was like, hey, she just made the video game. Like, do you guys want to support her in the promo video that we're about to put out? And they're like, yeah, we'll retweet it, we'll share it, and be excited for you guys. And they did that. So the city was definitely embracing her as much as we were embracing the city.
And at the time, can you speak to, because the conversation about infrastructure is, that word gets thrown around so much, and I think it sounds like for a really long time the city has had talent and has had culture. That's undeniable. The thing that has kept the city from progressing and a lot of artists progressing and sustaining um, successful careers is that infrastructure. Like it, clearly you had to go outside of Boston, but also I guess this case is unique because they came to you. Do you think it would have been different if you had to go outward?
If I had to reach out to them, you mean? Like if the
Yeah,
labels
like
had,
like
if I had to reach out to labels?
like if you had to break the artist here versus like it sounds like it was easier because the break kind of happened and it was more reactive work versus productive, or was it a little bit of both?
The talent drove everybody, like talent, hard work is the thing that keeps people in the music industry, but talent is the thing that actually like wakes everybody up. And for her, her talent spoke for itself. So I broke
Mm,
her, well, the first, I guess, breaking, um, we were in the city. I was in my dorm room. We were in Roxbury. She was in Dudley. I was in Dorchester slash Mattapan. Like we were doing all this stuff in town, in the city, and everybody else came flocking to us, if that's what you're saying. Sorry.
got you. It's so interesting because there's also this rhetoric of like the hometown heroes not really being supported by the city. Was Did you sense any like animosity at any point within the city, whether it was because of ego
Um, hmm.
or was
That
it pretty
that's
well received?
uh You broke out for a second. Was it pretty wet? Sorry.
Was it pretty well received?
It was received. I feel like weird energy came later, if that makes sense.
Got
I feel
you.
like the bigger in which she got, I started to peep certain things, but at the beginning, not really. And I think also because we didn't have an established ecosystem at the time, there weren't too many people to be I mean, I don't want to like discredit. There are people like working before us. I'm not about to say there was nothing there. I'm just saying like from my perspective, there wasn't this big, large community for people to lean upon,
Mm,
and I feel like I didn't I didn't receive any like weird animosity or strange behavior in the beginning.
got you. And how long now have you been working together, and how have you sustained like her brand and her presence? Because y'all are still doing the thing, y'all. Okay, Grease Fest. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I feel like an auntie. Um, I am an auntie. Love you, August. Love you, Chloe. Um, but I am going into my 10 year next year, which is insane. But I
Wow.
also look at it as a way of like, dang, you accomplished a lot, at a really young age. Um, but yeah, we're about to be in our 10 year this year, and people talk about like overnight success and all this other BS, but like it really takes those 10,000 plus hours. It really does take 10 years to really like understand like what this industry really is, or anything that you're doing. Um, and I feel like I've learned so much. And in terms of sustainability, I think it's just never giving up. You got to figure out for yourself what are the ways in which you're just never gonna give up. And I tell artists this all the time. The only thing besides talent, because at the end of the day, the core thing has to be talent. But the thing that differentiates them from like a Drake, Beyonce, SZA, all the names that we all know is work ethic and hard work. Like I truly believe there's no like there's aliens that definitely exist amongst us. I think you're an alien, I think I'm an alien for sure. But I think that in order to get where we need to go, talk about our callings and our purpose, like we have to really put
Mm,
in the work. And I feel like a lot of people from our city, unfortunately, at least I think that we have a lot more work to do in that department.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What kept you here? Because especially when we're talking about music and entertainment, you could have easily dipped. You had so many opportunities. I mean, you're speaking on these relationships. There are more accolades that you achieved that you haven't even spoken on yet. Like all you were exposed to so much of like the creme de la creme in the industry. You could have easily moved to an LA or New York, any of these other places. Like, why didn't you?
Um, well, one, the educational piece, I wasn't giving up my scholarship. I'm honored and privileged to say that I went to Northeastern for free. Like looking back on that, saying that now is insane. Like
Mm,
that school doesn't even make sense anymore. I was looking at the tuition and I was like, yeah, like if I had a kid right now, I'd be like, okay, if you don't want to go, it's okay. Like it's really okay. Like it's okay. Um, but then two, because of the work in which we were doing, it allowed us to travel to all these different places without us having to actually relocate to these places. So I felt like I never needed to just come and pick up my stuff and just run and go somewhere,
mm,
because we were always on the move. It almost felt like if I was about to be paying rent with at the time the little monies that I had, it didn't even make any sense. Because it's like,
mm.
okay, we're in LA right now, but next week we need to be in Texas, and then that next week we need to be in Atlanta, and the next week you need to be in New York. Like, I don't know if I even understand the lay of these lands even yet, too, to make a decision to say, like, I'm just ready to pick up and go. Because
Oh
I'm not that
wow.
big. At the time I was a risk taker creatively, but I wasn't a risk taker like, let me pick up and go at the time.
Mm,
Yeah. And I
got you,
always felt
got
like
you.
too, I'm a big believer of like passing the torch down and just like working laterally, and I wanted to do that as long as I could in our city. And yeah.
Wow. Mm, you're a rare one, that's for sure. Did for vintage, was there any what was it like kind of the same emotion there in terms of like planting seeds in the city?
Yeah. I think Vintage is really keen on, not I think, I know she is. She's very keen on being yourself. unapologetically yourself. So for her, I feel like I don't want to speak on behalf of her, but for me, knowing her, her biggest thing is being yourself is going to inspire so many other people to be themselves. And I feel like I look at this new generation of Boston artists now, slash Massachusetts artists now, and I'm like, yeah, like you're walking in your purpose, Vin, because I'm looking at artists that like did not
Mm,
aesthetically or sonically sound or look like that when we were first starting. You know, the way she dressed, the way she did her hair, the way she acted, her charisma, like that wasn't the norm at the time, I feel like. And now I
wow.
get to see artists now with like piercings and tattoos, and they wear their pants and shirts a certain way and their hair a certain way, and their music is not the most like a like typical music. So I think for Vin it's just like as long as I can be myself, I know I'm also passing the torch down to someone else.
Yeah, that's a good segue. How what are your thoughts on the scene right now? And have you been like able to connect with like the ecosystem and all the new generation of artists?
I love where we're heading. I love where we're heading. I view Boston as almost like in financial terms like a growth company. Like we're still so early on what's to come that there's going to be bumps in the road, there's going to be like uncomfortable times, but we're heading to a really special place. And I just view the scene as just like I don't know, like I have hope in it, hence why I'm talking to you right now because you're a part of that like movement. um and then have I been able to connect with it? Yes and no.
Mm,
I'm not gonna lie. My life has been really, really busy for the last 5-ish years to the point where I started to get a little bit disconnected from what was happening, but I always had people around me or things around me to keep my ears to the ground.
mm,
But what I always made sure of is I don't care if somebody didn't know me from a hole in the wall. If they reached out to me looking for advice, I always hopped on the call. I
mm,
always hopped on the call. I was going to talk to them for an hour, 2 hours, or however long they needed. And we were going to have a conversation. And to see the fruits of the labor from those conversations has been like really, really gratifying. And it's not a thing of like, oh, I did that. It's more so a thing of this person actually took the initiative to do something. Like my biggest thing about our city is, and this is not just a music thing, I just want people to be doing shit. Just do something. Like literally, no, seriously, go do a puzzle. Go on a walk. Go on the Blue Hill Mountains. I'm so serious, Stacks. Just do something because one thing about this life is you have to walk in your purpose because you really don't know whose life you're gonna affect. And like
mm.
you can't do that if you're just sitting around or if you're not, again, I don't want to make this super spiritual, but everybody has God-given talents. And if you're not using those God-given talents that, you have, like, then what's the point? Now someone else's life is affected because you're not doing your part. So I just think that for me, I want to just continue to just see people doing things and experiments. You cannot knock people for trying. And that's one thing our city has a bad rep
Mm,
on. We love, okay, so that we have terrible PR for ourselves,
yeah.
right? Let an outsider talk the most craziest trash about Boston, and we're all ready to like, why are you talking about my city? But then when somebody within our cities something dope, it's like, oh, that sucks. That
Mm,
person's left shoe is too far to the left. Like
I'm
that
dead.
person's, baby hairs is not swooped enough. Like, oh my God, like why are we our biggest haters? It's insane. And no, it's actually insane. It's almost like a self-hatred thing, but I want us to be more supportive of one another. You don't have to like everybody personally, but if you're here for the bigger cause, and that's to your initial question about creating that infrastructure, we all need to figure out a way to come together. And one last thing too that's been on my mind, I think it's time to rebrand the Boston scene, and it's gonna have to come either one of two ways. It's either we need to be more inclusive of all the outside towns that exist in Massachusetts, or we need to be the Massachusetts scene because
Mm,
one city I study like really closely because I've spent a lot of time there through vintage is Atlanta. And me personally, as a fan of music, I listen to a lot of Atlanta music. But the thing about Atlanta music, I'm listening to it from the early whatever 70s, 80s, all the way up into now. And the fact that their entire historical run is based off of people passing the torch down and working communally together is something that I've
Wow.
just never seen before. And I feel like for us, we're going to have to figure out that way. And when it comes to the geographical sense of Atlanta, these these let me not swear, these people be from like 45 minutes north of the city of Atlanta. They be from the western, like outskirts of Georgia, but they're all Atlanta.
Mm,
For us, let you be like me. I live on the line of Dorchester, Mattapan, and my friends like, you from the pan, you from the pan. And it's like, okay, and if I am, so what? Right? I claim both at the end of the day. But let somebody be like 45, 47 seconds away from the line of Raleigh and Medford or something like that. And I'm just making up borderlines because I don't know them. Oh, they're not Boston. Oh, they're
you're
not
not lying.
Boston. And it's like, so now we're about to miss out on opportunity. We're about to miss out on vibes and creativity because they live 47 seconds away from the border. And just because
Yeah.
someone's from the North Shore or from the South Shore or from Western Mass,
I'm so curious where that comes from. Has that just always been the case out here specifically?
I would need to ask someone who's older than me. I think this is a great question for Dart. Um, but I think how, if I'm using my own assumptions, the way our state and city is set up is that it's segregated by cultures and it's segregated by socioeconomic class. And I feel like everybody has their own territory. So once you
Mm,
start doing that now with like music, it's like, I don't know, it's just more amplified, if that makes sense.
yeah. It's so interesting. Were there other markets besides Atlanta that you were kind of able to like really see and break down like, okay, this is how they work out here.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in LA and I spent a lot of time in Atlanta and I spent a good amount of time in New York. Um, I would say New York is more business oriented when it comes to the business. Like you come here when you're doing press runs and you're trying to sign your deals and I don't know, just be outside. LA though, from my experience, is the place of creation. That's where
Mm,
you're gonna have some of the most unrealistic studio sessions that you've ever sat in before, or pop up to an event where you're like, why am I in the same room as X, Y, and Z? But that's a place where you really build community through creation, but also like you're meeting other artists. Atlanta is more so specific to certain genres, but it showed me again what it means to have group economics, but also a real we keep talking about infrastructure. And it also taught me about like it goes back to group economics about dollar circulation. And I think that's another thing that we have to remember too as Bostonians, not to get all nerdy with it. Our city prides itself in it only survives because we're a city of academia. For
mm,
those who don't know what academia is, it's like healthcare and education. So our city is always going to be prioritizing the
mm,
hospitals and the schools. Art was never in that top three, right?
mm-hmm,
So if you're going to be in our city, you're going to have to work extra, extra, extra hard to do, what you need to do. Whereas in Atlanta, that same dollar that you spent maybe in the morning at a brunch with the grass walls, that dollar may go to an artist, or it may go to a stripper, but then it might go to another person. Now it's at the local politician. Like that dollar in Atlanta is going like this. Whereas
mm,
our dollar, it like starts somewhere and then it just kind of stops, And I will say too, the cost of living is also
yeah,
really high where we live. So
for
like
sure.
I can't blame nobody for real, for real. But yeah, we have to figure out an ecosystem where we're able to do this. And even if it's not as granular as Atlanta's like, you know, economic scene, we have to figure out a way to still like share resources amongst one another in the different industries that exist. This is me trying to
Absolutely.
be visual, and I look like
No, I'm the same way, bro. Trust. I have another question. So this era, vintage, stiz, Michael Christmas, OG, these names that you mentioned sounds like one of the golden eras. I've come to understand that there's multiple golden eras that Boston has experienced. This sounds like one of them. What it sounds like there's also this pattern of like these having these spurts of like real buzz in the city, artists, being able to get some national success as well, but then it doesn't really get sustained. Why have you been able to like see or like put together reasons as to why that keeps happening? Like it's maybe specifically for that era, like why it's not, it doesn't feel the same, obviously. And I think the city is looking for the next era, like the next generation of those artists to like put the city back on the map. Like why did that season end up like withering after some time?
Are you asking about that specific era or like all eras of like since then or like sorry, just so I have clarification.
Yeah, maybe starting with that era, and if you have like insight on any of the other ones, like please share.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that era still exists in certain ways. It's like things are going to be hot. We live in a time of like something is hot today or important right now, and it may not be as hot as or as important in the loud noise side of things, but
Mm,
they still make an impact. Like every artist that you just named, I still hear their music being played, whether it's in a car, in a my headphones, on a TV show, on a video game or whatever. Like their impact is still there. They just may not be the newest hottest thing, but like to somebody that they're new. And as the world keeps getting bigger,
mm,
like whenever all the people that you just named want to continue to grow in their respective journeys, like they're gonna still become bigger. Like Beyonce she's still fighting for acceptance in the country music scene, and she's Beyonce. So Beyonce's been Beyonce since we were jits, but when you want longevity, you're going to have to figure out how to keep evolving yourself. So I don't think that any of those artists necessarily withered away in a sense. It's more so they're figuring out their own respective journeys of evolution. And I think that's important for every artist in here to know that is like, it don't matter how big you think you got, the world is way bigger than what you
mm,
think it is.
mm.
And I've been looking at these Grammy now. I'm only using Grammys as an example because I feel like we all, for most of us, like we understand how those things work. But like people are really still fighting to be in a certain genre as big as they are. I don't want to get too deep into it, but look at the Kendrick and Drake beef. Like, look at the business aspect of it. I'm not talking about the artistic side of it. Look at the
Mm,
business aspect of it and look how people were treated by the same business that they built up. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter how big you are, you don't necessarily wither away, but you have to figure out ways of evolution.
that part. There was a video that Lizzo put out recently too, where she was like saying that even for her and for all these major labels signed Grammy award winning artists, like it's getting a lot harder to remain relevant and like stay in front of people.
I think the question is relevant to who, right? Right? Because there is probably a whole world that Lizzo has built and that she continues to feed. But because things are becoming more decentralized and distribution is getting more wider, it's just people feeding niche audiences. I'm also a big believer, not everything is for everyone.
Mm,
There are certain artists who are big to the world that I just genuinely do not care for,
right.
right? And then there's people who I adore and I love so much musically that the next person does not care for. So I think every artist needs to understand what their goal is in order to really feel like uh I guess people care or something. You know what I mean? Like but yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if
That's
you
it.
want to be a mega, mega triple superstar, like I said, that's gonna take some time.
Right,
It's gonna
right.
take some time.
It's defining what success looks like to you. And I feel like now the possibilities of what success could look like are so much more expansive than they were before. Like success for the majority at one point was just like, the lights and the big stages and the whole nine. But now it's like you can sustain off of so many different things now, and you don't necessarily have to be front and center.
Agreed.
Like you could be okay just being in the back. What you kind of like touched on on pieces of this, but like, what would you? We got a lot of artists, that's for sure. Everyone wants to be an artist, especially in this city, man. This is a very large
Ah,
community. Um, what whether it's advice, whether it's just like words of wisdom, like what would you say for artists who are trying to break in the city right now?
consistency.
Mm,
Our city is basura, respectfully, on consistency, right? Every artist is not the same, but understand that like there are some people who are really holding their music hostage and their art hostage, and I know them. I know them personally, and if they're watching this, I love you, but you need to like let it go, let it go.
yes.
Consistency is a big issue here. People, some of the most talented human beings I've ever met are from Boston/Massachusetts.
Mm,
The art in which they created, nobody's heard it. You know why? Not because they uploaded it and then nobody heard it. It's literally sitting in their notes, in their phone, and on their hard drive. So you want to be this X, Y, and Z, but how is somebody going to hear you? They're just going to teleport and somehow their ears are just going to magically pop off their head and then sneak into your hard drive and then hear the music? No. You need to put it out and be consistent. Like I think consistency is really key. Um, I think collaboration. I think we've done a great job in collaboration in the sense of events, but I want to see more musical collaborations.
mm,
Music is a collaborative sport, and that goes for outside of Boston, but it's a collaborative thing. People just there needs to be more producer/artist combos. If you're may not be the best singer, but you can write your ass off, you need to be writing for some people. Like let's do this music thing. If you I really care about art for real. Like I genuinely understand. I know there's a lot of ego in hip hop and stuff like that,
mm,
but if you take a step back out of ego and stuff, a lot of these people are writing for other people. Like everybody's writing for somebody, someone's ghost producing, someone's doing something. And even if they're not credited, it's still happening.
right.
Um, so be collaborative, be consistent, and let's work on our professionalism.
Mm,
Let's work on that little one. Because that one's a big one that I've had a lot of trouble with lately in our city is that, and I don't want to blame anyone. I know where the energy and the mindset stems from. But in order for us to get to that next space where we can actually, we talked about it, create real infrastructure and break artists and stuff, we're gonna have to learn a little bit of professionalism.
yeah. See, it's cool because like even though you didn't necessarily study like music business entertainment industry, you were exposed to it, and so you have such a clear like vivid, when you're exposed to it, you have such a clear vivid idea of what it takes, and when you drop a song, marketing strategy, and all these different worlds and sync, and all of these different pieces to it. But when you come from a city that doesn't just have that on display, I feel like from my perspective, that's what I'm seeing. Like artists might be incredibly gifted, but or like they'll hold on to music, but they might not necessarily know like how to roll it out. Like they don't have the strategy mind. Do you think it's just like an education issue at that point? Like, do artists need to, especially like locally, who don't go to Berkeley or don't like just have that information or haven't been exposed to the greater industry world, like is that on them to do that research?
I'm a nerd. I'm an educated nerd, and I'm a freak when it comes to like research. I was born in the 90s before we had the internet, and then got introduced to the internet and realized that there was an entire world that digitally existed with a lot of amazing, real information. Um, the excuse of I can't and I won't, to me, does not exist in this era. Um, I am someone who is always trying to learn. Like even now, like I'm always trying to learn. And there's this company, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I think it's called Google, Google, and
Oh my God.
YouTube, and they're, I don't know. Like, I feel like those two things that I've heard of, I've just never, I just heard of them, are really amazing resources for people to actually like get started and actually start listening and learning. You can, again, just try some shit. You're gonna make a mistake. That's the other thing. If you're gonna be in this business, or if you're gonna be in any sort of like entrepreneurial anything, you need to learn how to fail. And it's
Yeah.
not failure in an indefinite sense. It's like you're gonna make a mistake. Shit's gonna happen. Things are not gonna be perfect, but Google's your best friend. YouTube is your best friend. Rest in peace, Ask Jeeves. He was our best friend at one point. Like, there's just
Mm.
two, Chat GPT's your best friend. Um, there's just too many resources and things um that are out there for people not to just at least be somewhat educated. Um, and then you also have to have a level of discernment too. I'm not going to sit up here and be like Google's always right and ChatGPT is always right, but you have to also have a level of discernment, and you also need to listen to experts.
Mm.
Let's start there. And I told you this too. I don't like doing these things in general because it's more like a shy thing. But I also felt like when people, when beefs first started popping off, and even early MBG days, people would always ask me to do stuff like this, and I always felt like it was a disservice because I felt like I didn't feel like I was close to mastering my craft yet.
Mm.
Why would I sit up on a podcast or Instagram live or any sort of medium and be talking like teaching people when I didn't feel confident that I knew fully what I was talking about? So you should be
Mm.
listening to people. If we're talking about music, you need to be listening to managers that have artists that achieve the same goals that you have for your artists. Everyone's not going to have the same blueprint, but at least you're listening to somebody who's done it and done it very well. You don't
Right.
need to be listening to respectfully the person who wants a platform just to show off their shoes and show off the grills and like, just spew BS all day. That's not who you should be getting knowledge from. I just listened to a 3.5, and we won't get into like why I didn't love whatever. I just listened to a 3.5 hour interview like 2 days ago, spent 3.5 hours of my time locked in to listening to a very successful artist manager, someone I've actually met in the business who has one of the biggest artists in the whole wide world. I sat for 3 hours and four, it wasn't even a
Mm.
half, 3 hours and 40, I think it was 9 minutes. No, sit to learn some shit.
As
So
you
if you're an
should.
artist and you really care, you need to sit down for 20,000 hours and 90 minutes and learn some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not good with excuses when it comes to education. Google's right there, YouTube is right there. The people who've achieved these things are also not that far. We know their names are like
Mm.
literally on the credits. You're like, even Folded's one of the biggest. I'm just using Folded because it's like the biggest song right now. I literally, as soon as that song came out, I said, "Who produced this? Who
Mm.
wrote this?" I know Kehlani's obviously a part of it. She's the front face. She's also wrote and contributed to it as well. But I need to know who wrote the song because I haven't heard this type of thing in a long time. Raven Lenae's last album before it blew up, I was like, "Who produced this?" Okay,
Mm.
let me go figure some stuff out. Or this artist just reached here. Who's the manager, right? And if I can't find the manager, let me find the co-manager. Like somebody's
Yep.
name is on this. So look at the things that you see that are working, and then start to dial back and research all those like people and things.
Yeah, it's never been easier. Like it's actually insane how easy it is. Even just reaching out to these people. Like we can get their emails now. There are some of the softwares are a little illegal, but it's like you can find people's emails, you can even find their phone numbers. Like it's kind of insane how much access we have. To your point about researching and like picking up these skills. Also, there are any artists or like people who are interested in the industry in here. I hope you have your notes because listen, I come in every week with my little notebook. A lot of game being dropped, but when it comes to learning and being a student and picking up on these skills, there's that piece. But then there's that other piece that's like you either have it or you don't. And we've talked about this before, how you have like you've been able to like predict certain trends, even when it comes to like marketing and strategy, like that is just as creative as being the artist and making the art itself, and not everyone has that piece. Where did you get that ability to like create worlds and connect dots? What, how did you develop that? Was that something that was innate? Talk us through it.
I believe that taste is innate, but I believe understanding that you have taste is something that you have to learn for yourself. For
Mm,
me, that platform that I just talked about, where a lot of artists need to be spending a lot of time on to YouTube, was my best friend as soon as it came out into the world. I spent a lot of time on YouTube, but I was doing dumb kid stuff. But then I was like, oh, wait, there's a section of this thing that is specifically musicians just trying to like be themselves. And I remember in middle school, I kind of took a break on the whole watching people fall and slip, like America's Home Funny videos type thing and skits. Yeah, I was a menace to society. I still am a menace. If my friends are in here, they know I'm a menace to society. And then you can blame YouTube for a part of that ministry. But anyway, I remember in middle school, I was obsessed with finding artists that just sang songs. 'Cause remember, I grew up in the choir. I played like music. I just loved the thing. So I was like, I need to find other people who love the thing. And I would come across artists who were singing covers of their favorite songs. And mind you, I'm in middle school, I'm 12. And I'll never forget. And I still have documentation as long as Mark Zuckerberg does not shut down Facebook, coming across this little boy who happened to be Caucasian, but his voice was so wild. And the video maybe had like tens of thousands of views at the time. And I was like I was also a girl, so I was like, ooh, little girl crush too. But mainly talent wise, I was like, what is happening here? I'm from Boston. I ain't seen no little white boy from where I'm from have pipes like this. Like, what am I
mm,
watching right now? And then I kept following, I subscribed, I was following and following and following him, and that person ended up being Justin Bieber. And it was just like seeing that
mm,
was my first of like, oh, you can see
wow,
something before it was this thing to everybody else. And then it happened again with Tori Kelly, and then it
wow.
happened again with I'm trying to think of like other YouTube people at the time. I remember, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I found Ariana Grande because I didn't watch Nickelodeon. So I saw her on YouTube doing her little photo booth covers. Same thing with her. Like, there's just a bunch of people. So I started realizing, oh, like I can see things and hear things, and then they become this
Mm,
bigger thing. Um, and then that's how I kind of learned that I had taste. And I also used to do in high school. So I didn't respect to all the blog people, but like I wasn't obsessed with the blog era for like the blog part. I was obsessed with it because of the music that was coming out of it. So what I
mm,
did is I had these little websites that super legal, but whatever. They would put out music because remember distribution was different at the time. You had to submit your album like a month or whatever earlier. So in between that time, there were people like me finding it, and I would find music before it came out, and I would curate these little tumblers and little websites to like put together the songs that I really liked from what I was finding. And I would share it
wow.
to my friends, and then they really liked the songs too. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I can again find things from like whatever, and like other people like it. Um, but then my biggest, so one of the things that we didn't talk about, which is important in everyone's journey, is that moment of like I can do this before you get into the music business. Because I
Mm,
told y'all the story about how I started working with vintage, but I didn't tell y'all the story about, okay, Sharlea, you can do this. You can really do this. So I used one of my friends, Dan, who you know, him and I used to just exchange creative ideas back and forth. He's a producer, composer. He's just one of the craziest music minds that I've ever met, but also has a general creative brain. And we used to shoot the shits back and forth. And then this was also when Vine was coming out. It was very similar to the Bieber story. I was on Vine doing the scroll, and I came across another Caucasian boy who had pipes like I've never heard before. And I was like, what is this
I'm
thing with
dead.
these, you know, young white boys with crazy voices, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. His name's Noah Jackson. But then shout out to being outside, which we should also talk about. I was outside in Boston just going around, I don't know, like the Commons or something, and saw Noah. And I was like, this is weird because not that I just seen you on my screen. I don't know where you're from. I've seen you now in person.
Hmm.
Come to find out that Noah was at Berkeley with Dan, and him and Dan were already clicking up to do like videos and music together. And I was like, this might be an opportunity for me to like actually contribute something to what they've got going on. So they were gonna make this like YouTube cover video, and they were super hell bent on Noah singing Elastic Heart by Sia. But this is where I was like, can I interject? Because for a long time too, a lot of my other music friends, they didn't want, I was like little sis to them, so they didn't give a crap about what I had to say.
Oh my
But shout
gosh.
out to Dan, someone who believed in me. And that's another thing. You also have those people in your life or your journey who creatively believe in you. He was like,
Hmm.
yeah, let me hear what you got. And I was like, all right, y'all want to sing Elastic Heart by Sia. I respect it. I get it. Because Noah's voice is going to sound good with it. But 4 or 5 seconds was just performed on the Grammy and the Grammys. And anybody who knows how the Grammys work, when you perform a song on the Grammys, it blows up or used to blow up. So 4 or 5 seconds
Hmm.
just went from this song with all those legends on it to this like big thing. And I was like, all right, how the YouTube, because remember, I'm a YouTube kid. How the YouTube algorithm works is if you do something that's viral and hot already, it's going to bring attention to your video. So I said, let's do a medley. Let's figure out, because Dan, you're the master composer here. Let's figure out how to create this medley of 4 or 5 seconds and Elastic Heart. I don't know how to do that, but I know you do. And he did that. And you guys can go
Wow.
watch that video online today. But what that video did to tie it all up is The Voice reached out to Noah. And The Voice at this time was like the biggest, this was like American Idol 2.0. Like we was waiting for them spinny chairs every week, right? And they called Noah. I think Noah ended up on Team Gwen for a little bit, but then that was my aha moment of like, okay,
Wow.
like you had an idea, you saw some shit, you heard some things, and then you actually like applicated it or applied it. I just made up a word. I'm not good at English. Sorry, guys. Applied it and then it worked. And then that was my aha moment. So when vintage came around, I was more like willing and ready to like take on the challenge.
Got you. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful. Again, like, but it sparked from you interjecting yourself in the same way that like you saw something in vintage and was like, "Hey, I don't know what this looks like yet, but I'm just trying to be involved." Like you had to have the discernment and the faith in yourself and whatever you were getting yourself into to even like make that leap.
Yeah, taste is important. And what I want to say too is I don't want anybody to be like, because I'm not a superstar, that I shouldn't be doing music. You just have to understand if you want a career in this business, there are certain things and qualities in which you're going to have to have. We already talked about hard work, but talent is at the very core of it. And if you're not different, unique, and super talented, you could keep creating. That's you. You could do whatever you want. I'm not about to be here and be like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But understand there might be some limitations along the journey if you are pursuing a professional career in that said thing. So talent at the core of it is gonna be the thing.
All of that, all of that. Also realize, speaking of taste, we didn't talk about your little moment at Audio Mac.
Oh wow. That's crazy. Um
How did that happen?
that moment also was be reading. Actually, no, I didn't even say anything because knowing me, I don't be saying nothing. I just be popping up places. Sorry guys. I need to be better about that. Audio Mac was a big part of my career, not because of the actual role in the title, but because of the action steps in which I took to do it.
Mm,
This was COVID. I had a relationship with Audio Mac already through Vintage and what she had going on. And they had this series where people were creating playlists in their respective cities to show off their talent. And there was like a LA one. There was all this. There was even like Lagos, like Africa, and all these different places. But there was no Boston/Massachusetts in there.
mm.
And one of the things I learned, this is like a spiritual thing for me, is God spoke to me and was like, you need to start speaking up. You have all these ideas outside of music management. You have all these ideas. You have all these thoughts, but you are not, talk about going back to God given skills. You are not utilizing all the talents that I gave you. Speak up. Like, stand up. God was like, stand up. And I spoke up and I reached out to my homie Joe, shout out to Joe at Audio Mac. I said, hey, I see everybody and their mama got a playlist except for Boston. Can we get one too? And he was like, yeah, for sure. And
Wow.
I started just like, that's when I started to really get connected or intertwined in what Boston had going on. That's when I was like, I really want to put on for my city, but in putting on for my city, I was learning about all the nooks and crannies of music that we had going on at the time. Because remember, I came up at a separate time. So now this is like 4 years removed from that. But I started to get into like the hood Boston music rap scene, and that was fire. I was finding so many gems from Roxbury, different parts of Roxbury, different parts of Mattapan, different parts of Dorchester. I was finding people from Lawrence, Cambridge,
Wow.
parts of the North and South Shore I've never heard of. I was finding mad gems, and I said, "Oh." And then I think that's where my brain started to prime about the whole rebranding thing. I said, oh, we are severely
Mm.
slept on. There's a lot of talent here, like a lot, but they're not being heard. So hopefully this playlist can at least bring us one step to figuring out like who's all out here. And I think that
Yeah.
moment for me was really special because I made a lot of great artist relationships and friendships through there. I think one person I will definitely shout out, and there was a lot of amazing people, but one person who stood out at that time for me was Bori Rock. I remember
Mm.
I remember finding Bori Rock in those times of curation, and this was like right before he went to jail. And I was like, oh, this guy, and this is before he showed the whole personality, like the full blown Bori Rock you now see personality. As I said, there's something here. Um, I'm trying to think of any other folks, but right now Bori's just on the top of mind. But yeah, there was a lot of great gems that came out that era.
Yeah. Shout out Bori. Is that playlist still active with AudioMac or not?
I don't know, yo no sé. But I feel like somewhere maybe in my Spotify, because what I used to do is I used to find things on Spotify first and then tell people to put it on Audio Max. So maybe one of my draft playlists or
Mm.
so on my library, but yeah.
That's huge. Well, thank you for again like having the desire to um, do that research and put the city on. I'm seeing this pattern of like you being the support and providing the foundation, providing helping to build that platform for the creatives and the souls around you to be elevated. It's a very beautiful thing, and it's very divine. It's a very divine assignment that you've been given. Can you
Yeah.
speak to first of all, welcome again to everyone hopping in. I hope y'all have been enjoying this conversation and picking up on all the gems that Charlene's been putting down. I wanna get into what you're up to now and all the projects that you've got going on from symphony before and now with modern black girl. Like please share everything that I mean, you said you busy, so let us know what your days be looking like.
It's so crazy. This year has been like the most I've been focused into the music space in a long time, like specifically management. But yeah, the last 5 years have been like insanely busy. I had to take a step back too because I was like, how is my brain allowing me to do things in three different industries at the same time at a high level? I don't know how, but again, God is good and He is able because look, I'm like, this don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. What I got going on now? I am
Wait,
still
can
man.
you the past 5 years, can you break down like real quick
What
what that's looked
happened?
like? Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. So obviously, like I was still managing Ben, but then I helped found a company called Modern Black Girl that teaches Black women how to invest and trade on the stock market. In November, and we just actually celebrated 5 years 2 days ago, whatever day of the week that
Wow.
is. And then that blew up very quickly. It felt like vintage again, but like on steroids, just because of the amount of people it touched in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Um, and we have changed a lot of lives, and that role and that company is something that I don't know. I think some of the most impactful movements aren't really recognized and understood until years later. And the work that we do at MBG and have already done is going to be impacting generations to come. So and that we I was 25, and that's the other thing. I'd be looking at my age at some of these things, and I think people are like, age doesn't matter, and I absolutely agree. I just think for me, I'm just like, I don't know how I did this. Like, I don't know how I was able to do these things at certain ages. But again, by the power of God and spirit and divine timing and all these different things, it was
Mm.
able to come together. And then I got to a point too at MBG where I was just able to just like do things very efficiently, very quickly and well. So I had more like just time freed up. I'm always just trying to work on something. Like that's just literally how I'm wired. And then I ended up working for Meg at Symphony OS. So if any artists in here have not checked out Symphony OS, please do. It's an amazing tool to automate your marketing services and even the story, that divine timing of me and Meg. I've known Meg since 20 like 15 or 16. I actually remember I was there when he was conceptualizing the idea of symphony in LA on the floor with paper
Wow.
and pen, coding. Like that was crazy to then start working for the company like actually over 5 years maybe later. Um, that was another divine moment. And Symphony has powered campaigns for your favorite artists like SZA, 21, Future. Um, the list goes on and on and on. And they're doing amazing work. I'm no longer there, but it's still Gang and it's still Symphony OS forever for sure. Um, and then yeah, now I've relocated. Um, and now I'm just starting this new chapter of wherever kind of the wind blows creatively and professionally and personally.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that for you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh,
Moving is ghetto though, so I don't know. I don't recommend
why
it.
was New York the option just because it was like closest? What was the logic
I spent
behind
a
that?
lot of time in LA. I spent a lot of time in Atlanta, and I've spent a lot of time in New York over the last 10 years total. And I remember at one point I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna be a LA girly. I had the time of my life here, and then I was like, wait, I really thought about that. Girl, that's not you. That's not you. That was young you just talking out of like pure thrive and thrill.
Mm,
But that's not for you. But I spent a lot of time in the last 5 years through MBG in New York, and I realized that Boston or New York is just an extension of Boston in a different way. It's just
mm,
it's a bigger, more things happening, just all around city. And I remember too, sometimes when I would travel, not just in general, like whether I was out the country or in the country, people would be like, "Are you from New York?" And I'd be like, "No." Like respectfully, no, I'm not. But I don't know. I guess there's an energy about me that whether it's how I dress or my work ethic or whatever that people always kind of assumed I was from New York. And I actually held off on the move to New York for a long time. I just felt this like need to still be in Boston and be this like, I don't know, just helping hand, whether it's family, friends, or the scene or whatever. But then now it's just time to just, start moving on.
yeah, I feel that. Well, I hope you don't ever become a stranger to the city.
No, and let me tell you something real quick. I signed this lease like a month ago. When I tell you, Stacks, I've barely lived in this. I feel like my furniture has lived the full experience, and I am just a guest in my own home. Um,
Girl,
but
what?
yeah, that's another story for another time. But know that in the short amount of time I've lived in this apartment, I'm always looking for opportunities for Bostonians. Like I want to kind of
Mm,
connect this Boston, New York thing. Like I don't want for it to be my sole responsibility, no, but I do feel like the same way that Bostonians come to New York for stuff. New Yorkers should also be coming to Boston for stuff. And like we also
mm.
have very dope cultures and scenes that could definitely be intertwined. It's really funny because things will go viral in Boston and the general public will think it happened in New York when in reality it happened in Boston and that needs to stop happening. And it's happened to us actually. We had our first like million view whatever clip and people like these people from New York are crazy. I'm like
Oh wow.
little do you know, this was literally shot in Hyde Park. But yeah, I think New York is about to be a really dope chapter for me. But I've already been here a week and there have been opportunities been thrown my way, and I've already started to plug and play Boston people as much as I can. So if you're listening to this, if you're a videographer, artist, whatever you are, just make yourself available if if you get a text from me or someone else, because I want there
I
are
love
plenty, like
that.
there are things to do here. They just need people to fill it in, and sometimes it's not always going to be someone who lives in New York. So I'm trying to put some of my folks who are super duper talented in the right positions. Not
Yeah.
right positions, but like another position, like an opportunity or whatever.
Absolutely. I feel like it's just an awareness thing. Like once people know, and like you said earlier, the PR for Boston specifically, Massachusetts overall, a lot of it gets overshadowed by New York. But you know, New England East Coast energy is heavy for sure. I feel like I resonate with the, you know, people sensing that you're from New York or from the East Coast in general. So we got you. We got you for good.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I'm not going nowhere. Anywhere on God's green earth. I'm from Boston. I'm definitely my mother's child. I'll literally be in the deep depths, and this has happened to me in Ghana and London or whatever, and we figure out how to like make this Boston moment. Like it's not, I'm not going nowhere.
that's
Like,
fire.
yeah.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you so much for doing this, for sharing your presence and sharing your mind. Can you share the best way for people to get in touch with you and connect with you, whether it's for an opportunity or folks just want to like keep up with your journey in this next chapter?
Sorry, getting some food.
You're
They
good.
can connect with me on this platform. And um yeah, I would say I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with like DMs and stuff. Um my name is very specific, so like you'll be able to find me anywhere, but I feel like I'll be most responsive on here, maybe LinkedIn, um, MySpace.
Not MySpace.
I just had a troll. I feel like I didn't troll enough here. I'm a To know me is to know I'm an unserious person. And I feel like I didn't get to troll enough in here, but yeah,
It's
no, you
okay.
guys can reach out to me with whatever. Like I said, I've had an amazing conversations with people from the scene that I've never met through a hole in the wall. And I just love hearing people's stories and how I could be of service in any way.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's on IG, Sharlea with two A's, right?
Yeah, you know, couldn't get the original, but it's okay. My name's spelled, as you know, in 50 million ways at this point because people don't respect it, but it's fine.
Okay, so
It,
for the just for the record though, spell it the right way
oh, for the
for the
record,
archives.
okay, so Shalea. But you know what the sad thing is on some real stuff, like the American literacy crisis is actually super serious. I've been in positions where people have mispronounced my name out loud. I'll recorrect them and then they'll do it again, which is fine, cool. No, it's not cool, but whatever. Then I'll start phonetically spelling it out. And I'll never forget this one time I was in the Apple store. I started spelling out my name. I said S. The person wrote C. I said, oh. And then
Sharlea.
then I went to the back of the store and I Googled the American literacy rates and I said, okay, got it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked right now. And I want to leave this. I know we talked about creativity. I know we talked about art, but I really encourage the youth, anybody watching this, it's cool to be smart. I promise. I promise it's cool to be educated. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. But no, hit me up on anything. I also want to end with saying shout out to Stacks, the young legend. It's really
Oh,
important to make sure that anywhere, any scene, especially our scene, our Boston scene is taken care of, and she's the one for the job. Yes, I'm putting the responsibility all on you. The weight of your world is on your shoulders now.
oh
So,
gosh. Don't
um,
do that.
I remember meeting Stacks, and after our conversation, I was like, "Wait, how old are you?" And she said like 12. She didn't actually say 12, but she in my head, you basically said a number that sounded like I'm 12, and I was like, "Wait, I just spoke to this very insightful, brilliant
Oh
young
my
mind
God.
for I don't even know how long we talked for, like 3 hours, 4 hours, and you're like, yeah, I'm 12. And I was like, can I see
Yo,
some
12 is
ID?
killing me, Charlie.
Nah,
Don't
I
do
need
that.
to see some ID. How old were you? You were what, like 20 or not even
Like
20?
22 or something.
No,
12
you
is
weren't.
crazy.
No, you were not 22. You said something and it just like threw me off. Either way, you're just very, very beyond your years and the scene is very lucky and blessed to have you and keep up the great work. So yeah,
Thank you for paving the exact path that I'm on right now. Like I have so much gratitude to every single person, from the folks who've been in front of the stage, on the stage, behind the stage, everyone who's been part of this ecosystem and building it. This is literally part of my research, and I appreciate you so much for having being wired the way that you're wired, and with everything that you do, always thinking about other people. Real queens, recognized queens. Yeah, that's
period.
on my mama.
Period. I don't know that queen word. People have been abusing the queen word lately. So I'm like, when people are like, "Hey, queen," I'm like, I don't know what that means anymore. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by queen? No, I'm joking. But no, I to eat what does my bio say? To whom much is given, is much required. I really live by those words. I mean those words like super, super dearly. And I think we're in a space, and I also work in other spaces where information is not easily passed down. People are weird, people gatekeep, people do weird things. I'm not one of them. I do not subscribe. So yeah, reach out to me, say what's up. I'll say what's
Yeah.
up.
Y'all, appreciate everyone for hopping on and tuning in. This was the 6th episode of Beantown Talks. Y'all heard where you can find Sharlea. Okay, I can vouch. Okay, it was not hard to get in touch with her. It was not hard at all, actually. So please, um, reach out, stay connected, and I'm excited for you. I'm so excited for this next chapter, this new little era. I don't think New York is ready.
They're not ready, child. Wait till I start walking out with my all green Celtics fit. They already don't like me. I've come to New York and worn Celtics attire from head to toe just to be
Oh my
proud,
gosh.
and now they're gonna get like the worst of it.
Do
I
you
know we're
know?
really. Mhm.
No, I was gonna say, do you know Milkshaw Benedict?
Of course.
Okay, cool. He also just made the move, and he literally like is the same way. He'll like rep Boston heavy in
Oh
New
yeah, no,
York.
we're I him and Dame are thing one and thing two. Those are like extend like Dame. We're very serious people, but we're very proud of where we come from. So yeah, New York is definitely not ready to see me. We're kind of, we're not the best team this year, but I'm loyal, so we're gonna
We
still
gonna
gonna
get it
rep.
back. We gonna get it back. It's just a warm up, you know.
Exactly. Good things take time. Good things take time.
Facts, facts. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you so much. At this point, every session is gonna be 2 hours. I'm just gonna expect it to be. Oh, we'd be going on so much longer than expected, but this was beautiful. Again, if you want to rewatch, if you came in a little late, this will be archived on YouTube early next week. And stay tuned for the next session at 2 o'clock. Usually that's our regular time. I know we started a little earlier today. It was a little off schedule, but we we
You
we
could put
gonna
the blame on me, so you
we
could
gonna
put.
have hop back on starting next week. All
Sorry, I
right,
have a
thanks. Yeah.
long day. Thanks, guys.
Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Peace, peace.